Straya. How are you going? How you going? Are you right? I hope so. You should be. Why is that, Jim? Well, it's Tuesday, March 18, all day. That's right. I'm your host, James Clements, here in Larry Armour Studios. A CHOCKERS Tuesday episode for you today on NBA Straya. We've got a special guest on today's show, our man in Amsterdam, Pete Hooley, NBL commentator, all-round legend. Jumps on the show to talk about this awesome NBL Finals series, which is really, really good. But also, we had an incredible NBA day today, so we're going to talk about that. We also have Paul George news, some Tram Murphy news, Tracy Morgan news. What is going on? But today was an absolute cracker. So a CHOCKERS Tuesday. We've got the awards. We've got Old Mate, No Mate, Spud of the Night, Better Than Lonzo Ball. Obviously, that's on an iPhone. All the good stuff there. No yeah-nahs or anything today. We're going to smash through today's show. We'll have the Australian Player Watch, Shane Hill Shoot Your Shot, Light 'em Up award, and a pick and preview for all the games tomorrow, which will be very fun. Trust me, I should know. It's my show. Let's get into it. Episode 1227 of NBA Straya. Let's go.
This is Josh Giddey.
G'day, this is Andrew Gaze.
This is Jack White.
This is Joe Ingles.
This is Darcy Daniels.
This is Chris Anstey.
This is Matthew Delvedova.
This is Shane Hill.
Hi, this is Ryan Brockhoff.
This is Mitch Creek. This is Nick Kay.
You're listening to NBA Australia.
And you're listening to NBA Australia.
And you're listening to NBA Straya.
And you're listening to NBA Straya. You're listening to NBA Straya.
And you're listening to NBA Straya.
You're listening to NBA Australia.
And you're listening to NBA Straya.
And you're listening to NBA Straya.
And you're listening and watching NBA Straya.
This is NBA Australia. Let's do it.
Watch out for the shark attack.
You better. I don't know. Better watch out for the Q Grimes attack if you're the Houston Rockets. That game was insane. But you better watch out for just a random Tuesday slate being absolutely incredible. What an awesome day of hoops it was. Let's get into it with the daily. I believe it's some sort of whip around, is it? Aha, there you go, the whip. Paul George is officially being shut down by the Philadelphia 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6ers. Why is that, Jim? He's just, everything hurts. He's just like me. But substantially better at basketball. Paul George, look, I called this about 2 weeks ago when they basically went, bloke's cooked. And as soon as they shut down Joel Embiid and Maxey sort of been in and out, they're just like, pack her up, boys. We are done. So he apparently suffered 2 hyperextensions in his knee in October and November. Then he had the finger in January. Also had the groin problem. And they're like, that's enough. I think we've seen enough here. He was getting injections for the left adductor and left knee. And they're just like, just don't bother, Paul. And he's like, okay. You don't have to tell me twice. He's like, I gave up my podcast for this. I was going to be here and making a championship run. And then 2 weeks later, he's out for the rest of the season. Anyway, the season from hell for the Philadelphia 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, Sixers continues unabated. This is now the tankathon for the Sixers, which is pretty... what a 10-year run, just quietly. It's like, we'll run the process. Everyone gets up and antsy and angry, and they get a bunch of number 1 picks. None of them work out, but Joel Embiid does. And boom, here we are. 2025. They're tanking again. What a world. Trey Murphy. I love Trey Murphy, but he looks like he's done for this season after he tore his labrum in his right shoulder today. That sucked. He's been absolutely under the radar. Fantastic when he's been out there for the Pelicans. 150 plus made threes. He's averaging 21.2 points a game. He's unreal. He's like the one thing about like the shining light of the Pelicans. Like, he and Najee Marshall, very sort of interchangeable-ish kind of big wings who can score a little bit. They've both had really good seasons, and you're like, just one hit after the other. And speaking of which, the Mavs, there was a report coming out that the Mavs have asked the NBA for salary cap relief so they could, because they've got no players that are healthy to play basketball for them. But because of their own stupidity and cap machinations, they are only $51,000, which is nothing in NBA terms, under the first apron hard cap, basically the luxury tax salary cap hard apron, first apron, which they can't go over. And then it's been rightly pointed out, hey, why would the NBA give them any sort of salary cap relief when this is all of their own making? It's like, yeah, injuries happen. It sucks. But also, you didn't have to pay all those players all that money and have them on your roster. So, yeah. And so the NBA is not planning on doing anything at the minute. Awesome. Anyway, very brief game wraps for today. Game wraps. What a day it was. We had the Knicks rip off a 76-36 run to get over Miami. Detroit beat New Orleans by 46 points. Philly blew a 25-point lead. Houston had its equal franchise highest comeback in overtime. Oh, ain't no stopping Obi Toppin. Hit a game-winning 3. Denver had no dudes and beat Gold. Anyway, let's talk about it very quickly. Miami 95, Knicks 116. Cat. This got squirrely for the Miami Heaters. You can see I'm wearing the hat if you're watching on the YouTube. 15 straight points from Karl Anthony Towns at the start of the second quarter. Eric Spoelstra's just shook. He's calling timeouts like they're going out of business. And the game was done. Like, as I said, a 76-36 run. Anytime you can outscore a team by 40, and this is up here for brain thinking because I'm some sort of brain genius, you're probably going to win that game. And they did. Bridges had 28. Josh Hart had a triple-double. That's 8 straight losses for Miami. That's the most they've ever had under Eric Spoelstra. And don't look now, but they've been jumped by Chicago. That's right, Miami is the 10 seed. Oh, jeez. It's pretty crazy. They're 29-39. And the Knickerbockers feeling pretty good about themselves in the 3 spot. The weirdest thing was Tracy Morgan, prayers up for Tracy Morgan, the legendary comedian, was wheelchaired off the floor after spewing and having like an uncontrollable blood nose and couldn't walk. So you might remember he's had like lots of surgery and like a kidney replacement. He's diabetic. So hopefully he's all right, but bloody hell, not good. Anyway, as mentioned, Houston 144, Philly 137. Rockets came from 25 points down, the largest in franchise history. Fred VanVleet of the Fighting VanVleets got kicked out. They had all dudes fouling out because Q Grimes turned into Steph Curry 2 times over. It's like, hey, make him twice as good as Steph Curry. It was incredible. What a game. And Houston pulled it off, though. They hit some massive shots down the stretch. Jabari Smith, like his massive 3 was unreal. Awesome game. Absolute back and forth. Philly, that's just great tanking. It's like, hey, we've got Q Grimes. He's unreal. We also still lost. Good job. Indy. Well, yeah, right. So that was a good one. I mean, it's actually kind of important because the other teams that lost today, like the Warriors, the Wolves, etc., the Rockets have now won 7 on the trot. And of those streaking teams, this is like the longest streak in the NBA right now, the Rockets with their 7 straight. They were the 3rd longest yesterday when we did winners and losers. And now they're sitting pretty still up in the 2nd spot in the West, still tied with the Nugs. So that's very, very good. It's a huge win. And Philly, that's just a great loss. Oh, the tank rank. What else? We had an awesome Indy-Minnesota game. Nembhard and Rudy got booted after a big tough foul after a pretty rough foul, I think, on Mike Conley. 132-130. Indy win it in overtime in Minnesota on an Obi Toppin 3. This game was chaos. Absolute chaos. And it ruled. God, it was fun. You had just like everyone sort of doing everything. Great win for Indy. They desperately needed to hold on to that one. And that is basically keeps them in 5th after Detroit also got a win today. They're basically tied up 38-29 with the Bucks. So good job by them. Minnesota, tough one for them. They're 40-30 in the 6-7-8 morass in the West. Detroit basketball absolutely smash-rated 46-point win over the Pelicans. The Pelicans had 81 points and Zion scored 30 of them. It's crazy. Good job by Detroit. Chicago 111 beat 97 Utah. No Giddey, no hassles. 97-98 NBA Finals rematch finally. Toronto got absolutely curb stomped by the Phoenix Suns 129-89. Just gross. The Grizzlies got killed. They got straight killed.
But he got straight killed.
Despite Desmond Bain having a great game. He had what do you have? 44 points and then 44-7-4. Jeez. They lost the Suvlaki King for a little bit. Did the Kings as well. Did not return. He came back and then left. So a bit of a rough one, but good win for the Kings. They needed that one too. They're sort of just cruising along in the 9 spot in the West. Whereas the Grizz, I mean, that's a tough one, 43-26. No jar, so you kind of expected they might struggle, but not that much. Portland beat Washington 112-97. And then we had the San Antonio Lakers game. You saw Sohan and Vanderbilt get into a big old brouhaha and then get booted. But the Lakers hold on to win that one, 125-109. Pretty weird game. Stephon Castle with 23 points. Devin Vassell, 17. He had 30 for Austin Reeves. I mentioned this. Is he the real GOAT? Maybe. 37-6. While Luka had 21, 9, and 14. Absolute chaos game. Austin Reeves. One day you'll be telling your kids you watched him in his nice, early years, his nascent ascent into superstardom. That's a wicked game. 5 of 13 from downtown. Anyway, good win for the Lakers. They're 42-25 now and needed that one. And then, finally, the Warriors-Nuggets game was absolutely nuts. No Jokic, no Jamal, no Christian Brown, no Julian Strawther. The Nuggets win it 114-105 over a full-strength Warriors team. Steph goes 6 of 21 for 20 points and 7 turnovers. Draymond had 10, 6, and 5 with 5 blocks and 4 turnovers. Jimmy Butler, I'm going to crank up the scoring when I need to. 23, 8, and 6. And he was fine, but they just got very little. Like 18 for Gary Payton. This was an embarrassing loss for the Warriors. They're 39-29. The Nugs had no one. Aaron Gordon was incredible, 38, 6, and 3. You got a triple-double from Rusty Westbrook, who's older than Methuselah at this point, 12, 12, and 16. But wow, what a game it was. It was a ripper. So let's do some NBA Straya approved performers of the night, I guess. Is that what we should do? Yes, it is, Jim.
That's not a knife. That's a knife.
I mean, honourable mentions across the board to Obi Toppin with his game winner, Karl Anthony Towns with his 15 straight the second quarter, Aaron Air Gordon with the absolutely awesome 38, 6, and 3. But come on, man. I mean, Austin Reeves, that was a pretty good one too. Desmond Bain with the 44. Jalen Green ends up with 30 and 13. Very, very nice. Ant-Man had 38 and 5. But they all pale in comparison with, Quentin Michael Jordan Grimes. What the hell, man? He is awesome. He had 46 points, 13 rebounds, and 4 assists. Shot 15 of 27 and 8 of 14 from downtown. And not only that for the Philadelphia 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6s. It was the shots he was making. It was absolutely absurd stuff what he was doing out there, Q Grimes. It was off its head how good he was. It's like, that should go. Oh my God, he hit it. So he's not shooting that. Oh my God, he hit that one too. It was absolutely awesome. And I'll talk about Nico Harrison in a second, but wow. Pretty crazy. Awesome game. Austin Reeves with 37 and 6 as well. Zion with 30. Jabari Smith with 30. Awesome day in the association. But who was Spud of the night?
Spud, 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 it is Spud of the night.
Spud of the night. We have a new record setter. Yes, how good is this? So not only did we get 1 of 10 shooting for Jose Alvarado, 2 of 11 for Jordan Hawkins. I think we had a 3 of 15 for Vooch. Patch Williams went 2 of 10. Malik Beasley goes 4 of 14. You had a bunch of absolute spuds, but we have a new leader in the clubhouse this season for attempts with a single make. That's right. Up until now, we were tracking along at 1 of 14 shooting as the worst with a make shooting example this season, right? Bada Bancada back in January. You had a Jordan Jeremy Clarkson in late February. And CJ McCollum back on Jan 7. And now CJ McCollum has made it into the top 2. That's right, he went 1 of 15 today. Woo! That is absolute 0 of 7 from downtown. 1 of 15. CJ McCollum, please stand up. That was absolutely abysmal. Incredible gear from him. I mean, you don't want to bang on too much, but for him to have one of the 3 existing 1 of 14s this season, to go one better and go 1 of 15 is quite remarkable, really. So, well played, CJ McCollum. The worst shooting performances still belong to Dylan Brooks and Marcus Smart this year, 0 of 11. But yeah, with a single make, CJ McCollum. He is the new leader in the clubhouse. That is absolutely gnarly. And of course, we would very much like to thank Walker Kessler, because what did he shoot today? Oh yeah, he did! Chill! Woo! He went and shot 311. You beauty! Thank you, Walker Kessler. How can you be 7'40" and go 311 from the floor? What are you doing? You should be able to just, I don't know, hold the ball up and just go bonk. Jeez. It's insane, Walker. Come on, mate. Outside of that, who's old mate? No mates.
Old mate, no mates. Old mate, no mates. Old mate, no mates. Old mate, no mates. Old mate, no mates.
Who's got no mates today? It's probably still Nico Harrison, because with every awesome game that Q Grimes has for the Sixers, Nico looks like even more of a moron and has us asking the question. I think I put this one out on Twitter. Was the Q Grimes for Caleb Martin trade actually maybe worse than the Luka trade? How is that maybe the worst trade that Nico has made? Because Q Grimes now, with the Philadelphia 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6s, has 2 40-point games, 3 30-point games, and 3 20-point games. You might remember Caleb Martin hasn't played for Dallas because he was injured when they traded for him. And then the Mavs like, oh, we've got no players. They're all injured. So, you traded for an injured player, you idiots. What are you doing? Oh, God, Nico. You've gone and completely cooked it. And everybody is kind of reveling in dunking on him. So, yeah, I kind of think Nico Harrison is still a bit of old mate, no mates. And this is one thing that I brought up about this about a week and a bit ago. This is just the continual kick in the dick for the poor Mavericks fans out there. Because every time Luka does anything awesome, there's a billion highlights about it because he's on the Lakers. And everything that you do on the Lakers is in a giant spotlight and is just blown up to mammoth proportions. And so every time Luka does anything for the Lakers, every Dallas fan is like, oh, God, he was on our team. He's 25. Oh, God. And now the same thing happens with Q Grimes. The most remarkable point of this is Nico Harris is like, yeah, we're building for the future. They traded a 24-year-old absolute flamethrower in Q Grimes, who was, checks notes, healthy and pretty good at basketball, for Caleb Martin, who's 29 and already injured. I think you just have to give the guy a round of applause, don't we? Oh, Nico. What was the pantsing of the night? This is probably one of my favorites today. We got a T-to-T. We had Zion versus Beef Stew, where Zion absolutely rocked Beef Stew at the rim, double-handed sick dunk, just yammed on him. To the point where the Pistons, I think the Pelicans posted it going, don't challenge Zion. And Detroit, this happened straight after. Then Zion got stopped at the rim by Beef Stew remarkably well. You're just like, hang on, how can another human be that big? And Beef Stew's like, yeah, Jim, I've got this. Check this out. And he just goes, wha-bang, and the Pistons point out, do the old SpongeBob 10 seconds later. And Beef Stew gets it. It was such a good double pantsing. You're like, this is mutually assured destruction. Well done, everybody. Who was better than Bronny James?
Lonzo was the best player in high school. He was the best player in college. You think he'll get to the pros and be like, I made it to the pros, now I can be average. We're coming for everybody.
How about Ain't No Stopping Obi Toppin? Game-winning 3, hit 7 threes, a career high. Also had 34 points and 10 rebounds today. Absolutely absurd gear. An incredible game. Where he goes 12 and 19 from the floor, 7 to 10 from 3, 34 and 10, but hits the game winner. Absolutely gnarly. It was so cool. So that's New York Knicks legend, Obi Toppin, BT Dubs. Enjoyed that. Also, bit of an honourable mention. Has to go, I think, to Q Grimes with the 46 and 13. Austin Reeves, as per usual, 37 and 6. You also had Kobe White continuing his excellent streak at the moment, 26-3-4. And I don't know, there was like a Simone Fontecchio, it was pretty good. But the 23 for Stephon Castle, my rookie of the year, absolutely fantastic. And 20 more for Alexander Sarr. There you go. All better than Bronny James. All right, let's go have a chat with Pete Hooley about the NBL Finals right after this.
This is Cam Glidden.
This is Anthony Drimmick.
This is Mitch McCarron.
This is Jason Kadee.
This is Darryl McDonald.
Hey guys, this is Hugh Greenwood.
Yo, what's going on? This is Illy.
This is Mark Worthington, or commonly known as Wortho, and you're listening to NBA Straya.
You're listening to NBA Straya.
And you're listening to NBA Straya.
And you're listening to NBA
And you're listening to
Straya.
NBA Straya.
You're listening to NBA Straya.
And you're listening to NBA Straya.
You're listening to NBA Straya.
All right, I promised him at the top of the show. That's right, he's fresh off, I don't know, two of the most exciting games in NBL Finals history, shall we say. But more importantly, he's the man of the moment. Well, he was the man of the moment last week, basically. 10-year anniversary of your incredible buzzer-beating 3 Hools. It is Peter Hooley, NBL commentator, legend du jour, guest on the NBL Supercoach show with me this year, which was pretty fun. Hools, what's going on?
Thanks for that intro, man. Normally after the date passes of the March shot, I normally try and put it aside, but I've allowed a little bit longer because of the 10-year anniversary and the magnitude of it. But I don't bring it up myself, but when other people are, I'm more than happy to talk about it.
I like that. First off, like, it blew my mind. It's been 10 years because we were in the States, like, living there when that actually happened, and I still remember, like, it's like leading Sports Center. It's like everywhere at that point, and I'm like, holy shit, he's Australian. This rules. Let's go. And then boom, I think we had you on the show like a few years later, and obviously with all the NBL stuff you've done, like, it's just rad to have you around. And it's like every time that pops up, you're just like, yeah, fuck yeah, 2 thumbs up. This is great. So that's really fun. How many people get back in touch when that happens each year?
Yeah, most of my old college teammates, and the irony of it this year was Luke Devlin, who was the first Australian at Albany to create the pathway there. He got married on the same day for the 10-year anniversary. So I was there with Sam and Mike Rowley, and we were all together on the same day. Luke wasn't playing in that game, but he was in the crowd. Obviously, Mike and Sam were playing. So it was just the coincidence of that to be 10 years later, he got married and we were all together because they all live, 2 of them live in America with their partners. So it was pretty cool to be able to just be all together and relive that. But yeah, it's normally people I haven't heard of for 364 days. I'll get a DM on this day.
Rocks. If you haven't seen it, I mean, A, what are you doing? B, just go look it up on YouTube. It's absolutely unreal. Let's go to the NBL. I mean, this is NBA Straya, but I mean, obviously doing a crap ton of NBL stuff the last couple of years. I don't usually have it bleed onto the NBA show that much, but this series has been so sick that I'm like, I want to get Hools on just to go and put this into perspective for me quickly, because these first 2 games, I was there at the Monday, was the last week, the game 1, the Melbourne game, which was absolutely absurd. And then on Sunday, I'm sitting there with the squid. He's 6 years old. He's like, basketball is awesome. I love it. I think he's ostensibly a Phoenix fan. I'm just kind of like, I'm just taking you to games, bro. Like, we're just figuring this out on the fly. She's apples. And watching that game with him, he's like, oh, Dad, they're not going to win, are they? They're down 10. I'm like, what? It's like 8 minutes to go. And then Delhi just goes absolutely ham and takes over the game. What is going on, Hools? Like, this is awesome.
Yeah, it's fascinating because I look back at all the recent championship series, and I can't recall one that teams keep winning on the other team's home floor. I mean, everyone took care of business in the semi-final series, and then the Sunday game kind of followed the path of game 1 in Illawarra, where they looked like they were going to win it, and then Delhi, but other boys kind of got them over the line, and then I thought Melbourne were going to pull it out at home. And it's funny because we're sitting here now as we record this, and that freeze frame of Chris Golding's shot in game 2 of John Cain, where that ball was probably 68% down. If that goes in, it's over. It's a sweep. Now, I know things would have obviously not transpired that way. You can, in hindsight, we're geniuses. But, yeah, it's been a fascinating series. It's been a series of chess moves from both coaches. I thought Tatum was terrific in the way he's coached in game 2, and I thought that Dean Vickerman, especially in the second half of game 1. And then, I think, as you said, I think Delhi basically controlled things as a player, coach, GM, everything in game 3. Just relied on his experience, and it was fun to watch.
I mean, sitting there 2-1, I'm stoked for this game Wednesday. I can't wait. Like, it's just, I'm basically pre-gaming already. Like, I've got tins in the fridge. It's like, those are my basketball tins. I'm not going near them until then. I don't care. And it's super exciting because this is what you live for. Like, this is like a closeout game on your home court. Let's go. But I mean, the cool thing is we've now got this sort of tempered with, Justin Tatum being all like, hey man, like, it looked like Trey Kell got bloody shot. And like, we're just running on. It doesn't matter. Whereas like Daly tweaks something and it's like, we're shut down the game until we figure out whether or not he's right. I mean, that just adds a little bit extra spice, right?
It does, and I think it's been obviously blown up as those kind of comments have been really across all coaches throughout the entire league, really any league, any sport. It's hard in that moment because obviously Trey Kell's behind play, whereas I know they had the 3 shots for Delia in 5 seconds after Trey Kell goes down, but if there's a quick turnover and the Hawks go to take off, then they're going to stop the game because Trey Kell's in the way. But when he's behind play, that's not part of the rules. Whereas Delhi falls over in half court. If there's a turnover 3 seconds after that, then someone's going to potentially be slipping because if you haven't seen Delhi up close and playing, that man sweats like crazy in the first part of the warm up. So you can imagine the fourth quarter when he's absolutely gassed. So. I have no issue with the way that played out in terms of the rules. You never want to see players go down. Hopefully Trey Kell's all right. I think he's a fitness test and he's a key piece to the Hawks puzzle. But you're right, it adds to the theatre of everything. You remember last year what United did to the Hawks in the semi-final series, and then you also on the other side, Melbourne's coming up on 12 months since they were on their home floor and saw somebody else cut down the nets. So they get a chance to redeem themselves here.
It is, it is pretty funny because you're like, oh man, have we ever seen anything kind of this dramatic in an NBL finals? It's like, I don't know, last year, Jack McVeigh. Like, it was pretty bloody dramatic, like time after time. But the Delhi thing, you hit on something there about, like, I don't know, watching him play in person. I mean, quite clearly, like behind me in the NBA Australia studio, I have a giant life-size cutout of Delhi. Yeah. Bit of a fan, I guess. But watching him play, every time he does shoot, and this goes back to his NBA days, you're like, that's just not going in. Mm-hmm. And it does. And when it matters, it does. You're like, this makes almost zero sense in my brain. And like when he was doing that sort of the fourth quarter, boys, I got this one. Oh, God, the shot clock's down to like 4. I better hoist it myself. You're like, that's not going in. Splash. Off it goes. I mean, he's a really massive name, but is he also like almost the most unlikely hero in that sort of spot when you've got someone like Bubbles on that team? Ian Clark is obviously shredded before as well. Like, it just seems a bit strange, Hools.
I think the easiest way to put it is there's nothing sexy about the way that Delhi plays the sport. And that's throughout, even when he was a bit chasing around Steph Curry, had Steph Curry in a straitjacket. It's just pure grit, heart, and determination. Like, there's nothing. You look at some of the games that Golding's had. I mean, he had 19 threes in the John Cain games against Perth. And you're sitting there thinking, man, that was gorgeous to watch. Ian Clark goes off for a 38-piece. Man, that's beautiful to watch. Bryce Cotton, man, I can watch it over and over again. It's just stunning. It's absolutely beautiful basketball. But you don't walk away from Delhi games thinking, oh, man, that was a beautiful thing to watch. Delhi just goes out there, puts his head down. Doesn't matter who's around him. He's never going to quit. He's just going to grunt it out. And he is the definition of Australian basketball.
Yeah. It is like, it's like someone put an actual sort of basketball player in a blender. Yeah. And then, like, this is the result. It's amazing. Yeah, so much grit, heart, and determination. I mean, so what happens, do you think, in Game 4?
Who knows? I've been wrong plenty of times, as we often are as commentators. But someone has to win at home at some point. Surely there's not going to be Hawks win 4 and then Melbourne win 5 in Illawarra. So somebody has to win at home. And I think Justin Tatum summed it up after the last press conference and said, well, we got potentially 2 games left. So the next team to win on their home floor is going to win it all. And, I can't. The poise and the veteran experience of United has been awesome. Would have shocked me if the Hawks win this game. Absolutely not. I think they've got another swing in them. But would also shock me if the Hawks kind of fell apart and got blown out by an experienced Melbourne United. Also, no, I think I could very much see that happening. So that last 30 seconds of my answer, we're near closer to finding out, which is beautiful. That's how we want it.
Well, I feel like the way this has gone, it could be like Sam Froling has 14 and 20, and you're like 40 and 20, and it's just like, what?
Yeah.
Huh? Sure, why not? Or like, I don't know. Dan Greeter hits like 4 threes and wins the game, and you're like, geez.
It could have everything. It's, you talk about last year with Taz, even the year before that, Sydney and New Zealand, what an epic series that was. The teams are trading buckets on the home floor. Glover was the Game 5 hero there. So there's always another twist to the story. There's one more chapter left. I'm not sure which one that is, what it's going to be, but if you're not at the game on Wednesday, if you're not watching it as well, I don't know what you're doing, because this is Aussie hoops at its very best.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, tickets were hard to come by as well. I'm like, juice.
I bet.
Oof. Anyway, with this in mind as well, your commentary run this year, it's been awesome. Out there with, you're on the road, you're moving around, you're in the studio. What's it been like sort of trying to match Damon Lowery's energy?
Well, sometimes you just have to understand battles you're never going to win. That's part of being both when I was a player and also as a commentator. There's certain guys who they're unique individuals. And I love Damon for who he is and what he brings. But when he starts going off, you just sit back and just watch. You just sit back and just admire what he's doing. That's who Damon Lowery is as a person. He's one of one. He's a terrific human being, and love having part of everything we do.
Ballarat minor legend as well, Damon Lowery.
Oh, so am I. What are you throwing that?
Look, hey, some are legends, Hools. Yeah. Some played for the Miners. But the setup, I guess, like, who's the best road dog of the crew? You're out there with Ruck and Lowery and Felix and stuff. I've got to assume that Ruck is probably the most sort of just eyes on the prize, best road dog, most sort of put together, figures his stuff out quickest.
Yeah, probably. I'm pretty reserved as a father of a little one as well. I kind of understand you and understand this too. When you go on the road, even when we had that 4-day stretch where we flew everywhere doing the pre-games and for the semis, which was awesome, but everyone's like, man, you guys are getting out and about. You didn't have time to do any of it. We had red eyes to catch. We were doing all of that. And as someone who has a little one, I'm valuing sleep on the road. I'm valuing getting into my bed. I might have a couple of reds or beers a night, but when we do go on there for singles or something like that, yeah, Ruck's, he's the Hall of Famer for a reason. I'm not talking about the basketball court there. But so is Felix, so is Copes. They all have their unique traits that make them fun to be with on the road. Gazy's up there too, though. Gazy's, even just being in the airport with Gazy, we were at the lounge the other day, and he was getting some toast in the toaster, and someone came up and asked for a photo. And there's Gazy holding 2 pieces of raisin toast just in a photo. And I'm like, what are you doing, man? Put the toast down and take your photo. But he's an all-time great human. Everyone has their pros, and I'm sure everybody has their little icks as well, that I'd probably get that as well.
I love it. And before I let you go, NBA, how are you feeling about this season? We've got less than a month to go. I was trying to figure this out a little while ago as well, like what the NBL version of the Luka trade would be. It's like, I don't know, Bryce or Xavier, going somewhere just to add to a super team out of absolutely nowhere. But it's just pretty hard, just because we don't have that sort of magnitude of obviously trading in the NBL. So a bit of a weird one. But
mate, it's hard because Bryce, I don't want to compare Bryce to Luka, because obviously what Bryce's accolades compared to Luka's is different. But so I think it would be something like a Magne would be going somewhere. I think Magne, because we know how good he is, especially when he's healthy, so he can be a dominant force. But who's that next tier down from Bryce, but still has the impact of Luka at his age? Maybe it's hard if we rewind time. It was maybe a Magne for 2021, Jalen Adams.
Yeah, there you go. The Jalen Adams call is a good one. But who do you like this year in the NBA? We've got obviously the sort of top 3 tier of contenders: Cleveland, OKC, and Boston. And there's a couple of interesting ones who are playing today, actually, Nuggets and Warriors, but without, I think, Joker and Jamal. So it's sort of Denver holding their cards close to their chest. Do you have any vibes on the NBA season so far?
I'm still all in the OKC trade. We obviously all were there when Giddey was there, but they've learned a lot from last year when they get to the playoffs. They've got the best player in the league. I think that everyone likes. I know now. I think you've made it as one of the best players in the league, and you're starting to get clipped up about like foul baiting and like SGA. We need a hardened rule for SGA. Well, when you look at all that, when he shot fake, stop jumping. Like he's just so crafty. So I still on that. I don't want to say the Cavs bubble will burst. I'm worried that we're going to get a repeat of the lights were too bright from Jared Allen at some point in the playoffs.
Interesting. I'm just sort of hoping that Mobley makes that almost irrelevant. Like I'm fascinated to see Mobley in these playoffs. With like one year under the belt basically, and sort of just get that nice little bit of healthy run towards the back end of the season. He sort of sat out last game that they lost. And I don't know, that Cleveland team just scares the hell out of me if I'm kind of everybody else. But then you still got Boston sitting there going, we don't really, we're not afraid.
It's weird to call them a sleeping giant, but I think they're just happy just to take the back seat. Because if they're fully healthy when it rolls around, Drew Holiday is one of the most underrated players we've ever seen in the NBA. And if they roll out their full squad, Peyton Pritchard balling, if that's the series, if we're talking about Eastern Conference Finals, Boston and Cleveland, it could be 4-1.
Interesting. I just want that series. Like I just hooked that straight to my veins already.
Yeah.
Nice one. All right. Well, you can see him on the NBL coverage for the rest of this NBL Finals. Who knows how many games it's going to be? Could we just go to 9? Like screw it. We're just going to 7. We'll go to 9 games.
We need 5 for the semi-final series. That's my next push. 3's too short.
Have a chat to Larry, get it all sorted, and away we go. I mean, he has been busy sorting out the NBL game when we got the Pelicans in town at the end of the year. It was good to see them at Sport NXT last week, sort of taking the victory lap there, which is kind of nice. But I don't know. I just want more basketball. That's quite literally my entire status for everything Hools. I just want more basketball all the time. I don't want to break in my wife does, but old mate, she can just sort of hang out over there for a second. I just want to watch hoops. That's all I'm about. So either way, you can go check him out on the NBL coverage. What are you doing for the games 4 and 5 potentially?
We got the pre-game show. We'll be there for halftime, and then we'll wrap it all up. And there'll be something special. Whenever a team wins it all, we'll do some live stuff after we get right in amongst it all for the fans to see.
I love it. Awesome. He's been Pete Hooley. Thanks for jumping on NBA Straya, mate.
Thanks, brother.
This is Shane Heel, and you're listening to NBA Straya.
All right, how good was that chat with Hools? Awesome of him to jump on and have a bit of a chin wag about this insane NBL final series. If you are going to be there on Wednesday, come say good day. I'll be there hanging out, drinking some tin somewhere. Should be a good one. Can't wait. Anyway, thanks to Hools. That was fun. Let's do a quick Australian player watch. Only a couple of the Aussies in action today. So we had Johnny Fefe and Jingles both not play in that Minnesota-Indiana game. Furphy was out with an illness, so hopefully he's all right. And Jingles copped another did not play coach's decision. Rock'em, sock'em, block'em, jock'em, Landale in the win over Philly. He played 6 minutes. He had 7 points and went 3 of 3 from the floor. 1 of 1 from downtown. 3 rebounds and 1 assist. Not bad. And then do-up, bop, do-up, shib-a-dop, bop, do-up. Obviously, no Josh Giddey in that Chicago-Utah game, as I mentioned. But do-up, the Great Barrier Reef in the win over the Wizards had 15 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, a steal, and a block. Shot 5 of 11 from the floor and 3 of 6 from downtown. 2 of 2 at the line. I'm not saying that he's the most underappreciated, overlooked backup big in the NBA. Oh, that's right, I definitely am. Hashtag free do-up. Let's get him out there. Get him more, 23 minutes. The bloke delivered. And so did our beloved Aussie Matty T, Matisse Thybulle. Played 22 minutes and finally hit his first bucket since last season. He went 4 of 9 from the floor for 9 points, 5 steals. Jeez, Matisse. 3 assists, 4 rebounds. Absolute weapon. Plus 14 for the game. He also had a block. He was absolutely unreal. Very, very nice stuff across the board. No Taron Armstrong yet for the Golden State Warriors either. Still down. He played with the Santa Cruz Warriors yesterday and just sort of getting accustomed to stuff. So there you go. All right, quick Paddy Mills Game Day Baller Game Day Twitter check-in. Now, what's Paddy been up to? Paddy. I think we had there's Nick K. What's he? 6 years of them. Oh, that's nice. That's a great mustache looking from Nick, my best mate. Doing awesome. Was there another Paddy? I thought there was a Paddy that popped up. Baller Pat. Yes, one new post. Here we go. Oh, it's his fits. Living life on the road. Coming in some pretty crazy jeans. Jeez, don't know about those ones. On the road. That's a nice looking coffee there from Paddy. He's got the Lenny Kravitz top. And then probably Lenny Kravitz pants, I guess. Some nice looking jewelry and glasses. Good on you, Paddy. Oh, how's that spread? Looking good. Good shoes. Go check that out. On you, Paddy. I'd run through a wall for that, man. Let's do some game previews for tomorrow. Game previews. Game previews. Thanks, Inadvertent Bane. Not a problem, Jim. How's it all going? Oh, not bad. Very chill. It's good to have Hools on the show. How much fun was that? We have 4 games tomorrow, but the cool thing is we absolutely aced a bunch of our picks today. So out of what was there, 10 games, I think we nailed 8 of them, I want to say. Maybe even 9. Let's go back and have a look at the picks from yesterday. Because, yeah, I think annoyingly over at Dabble, I banged in San Antonio, and I don't think we had them on yesterday's show. No, we did. We had the Lakers, we had Portland. Oh, no, on yesterday's show we took Memphis, and then I found out Ja wasn't playing, and I took Sacramento on Dabble. We took Phoenix, we had Denver, which is a great call. We took Chicago, we took Detroit, we took Indy, we took Houston. Yeah, we missed out on Houston, but now the Knicks. So what's that? 8 or 9 of 10. Just saying. Absolutely crushed it. So go follow over at Dabble. Bang in the code NBA Straya. Click on the link in the show description or in the Facey IG stories. Tell them Jim sent you. Got to keep this pirate ship afloat somehow. So all your help would be appreciated. Obviously, if that's not your thing, don't bother, but it's all good. Appreciate you either way. Tomorrow, we've got Atlanta at Charlotte. Oh boy. We're going to go the Hawks in this one. -6.5. The Hawks are still decent and still fighting for that playoff seeding, or at least the play-in seeding. Whereas the Hornets, look, they have these like nice little bursts every so often where they look capable, and especially at home, they're not too bad. But the Hawks, I think, just have a little bit of the old killer instinct right now. Give me the Hawks -6.5. Because if you think, look, the Hawks are going to be looking at this going, these are the ones we have to keep winning. They're on top of the South. They've got to keep ahead of the Magic, right? So the Hawks dropped those last 2 silly games. They dropped a horrible one to Brooklyn on the weekend, and they weren't competitive against the Clippers. This is the game they have to win. They beat the Hornets last week by 13. They beat the Sixers by 10. They beat the Pacers twice. They need to get this one. So give me the Hawks -6.5. Fascinating game, though. Then we have Brooklyn at Boston. You might remember Brooklyn pushed the Celtics pretty hard the other day, right? Did they, Jim? Yes. They lost it by 2. It was very, very close. This is a pretty big line. The Celtics are 13.5-point favorites against the Nets. I think I might actually take it, though. In Boston, it's a bit of a tougher ask, I think, for Brooklyn. I'm going to take the Celtics -13.5. They just sort of need a couple of nice get-right smashings, don't they? To the Celtics. So I think that's one of them. Milwaukee versus Golden State. Oh, geez. That's right. The Warriors, after copping a loss to the Nuggets today, the Bucks were +3.5. And that's what I had written down from earlier. I think that has now swung all the way to Milwaukee being favorites, but I'm still taking Milwaukee +3.5, which is where this all started. The Bucks, look, always happy to like throw a weird loss in where they should get a win, are the Bucks, but I think when we had the +3.5, I felt pretty good about that because that could still be the Warriors winning by 3. I'll still take Milwaukee +3.5, even if you want to adjust it to there. That's where I'm at. I think the Bucks are a little bit better. The Warriors, it felt just a little bit wobbly today. They just overlooked the Nuggets and got steamrolled. And then finally, Cleveland. That's right. Cleveland in LA to take on the Clippers. Awesome game. The Clippers are +3.5. If you've got Kawhi, Harden, they've got Norm Powell back. I don't mind the Clippers to keep this one really, really close. Cleveland had won 15 straight. They just completely fell apart in that fourth quarter against Orlando yesterday. Had a million chances to win the game and just didn't. I feel like going on the road straight after that sort of game is a weird sort of vibe. So I might go the Clippers +3.5. Cleveland might win this one, but it'd be very, very close. And there you go. That's it for today. Thanks to Peter Hooley for jumping on. Good chat. We'll have other guests later this week, which is really fun. So we'll be back on deck tomorrow for a bigger power rankings, maybe a standings check-in show. In the meantime, make sure you're following NBA Straya on Twitter, Facey, IG. We're all over the socials. You know that. TikTok as well. YouTube. Jump on the YouTube. Jump in the comments. Say g'day. Check out NFL Straya with myself and Gaz. We will be having an off-season wrap. There is so much going on in the NFL. we're almost basically waiting for it to get to a point where it's like, okay, has most of this stuff happened now? And then we'll have another show. Check us a rating review on your Apple Podcast, your Spotify, YouTube, whatever app you're using the Android phone. As I keep saying, this is the only thing that kind of really does matter. If you do, just do it. That would be muchos apreciado. Just go out there, bang a review in there, 5 stars. I'm not going to twist your arm, but 5 would be good. Go nuts. The same thing goes with Dabble. If you are of that persuasion, you want to have a look at it, go check it out. Bang in the code NBA Straya. Use the link in the show description or on the Facey, Twitter, IG as well. You can find the link to Dabble. Just make sure you use that one. Use the code NBA Straya and off you go. Make sure they know that I sent you. Big thanks always go to From Oslo for the intro and outro song. They rule. So did House Hats, Joshua Delarentis, Fascinated Gold Mines, Ramshackle Army, Iowa, Sextrato, Green, and Dozers there behind all the tunes you hear throughout the show. Smash them all on Bandcamp, Triple J and Earth, wherever you're getting your tunes, Apple Music, Spotify, NBA Australia Sports Australian Band, so should you. And that's it. We will catch you tomorrow, you dickheads. This is NBA Australia saying, that was an awesome day of basketball, wasn't it? Yes, it was. Also, look after yourselves, would you? And little huzzah!